This is Oscar Marquez. He has been on the Aztecs for about 4 years. He's been on my team. He's a 14U player. He's in 8th grade. His issue for the past 4 years is the same issue over and over. It's him dropping his hands. And as you can see in these slow-mos, he never loads. That's a golf swing right there. So he's always dropping his hands. That's why he's late a lot when he's swinging. I want him to visually see that he has an issue with dropping his hands. The thing with Oscar is taking direction. You can tell Oscar, he acts like he's listening. He will adjust that day. 2 days later, he goes back to the same things. So this is an issue that we've been dealing with for 4 years now. I'm hoping that 14U is where we fix it. I attached a video at the end of this. He's going to be required to do at least 100 reps every day for at least 5 days a week till the season starts. And we're going to take another video in July and see where we're at.
Baseball. Now today we're going to go over one of the oldest and most common hitting flaws in baseball. And what I'm talking about is the dropping of the hands before we go to the ball. And today I'm going to give you a very simple 3-step progression to follow that'll knock this bad habit out of your swing today. Let's go ahead and get started. Now this swing flaw that we're going to go over today is the one where we're up at the plate and we're in a really nice hitting position. And when we go to do our load stride, our hands drop below this shoulder, and this usually results in a really weak uppercut swing that leads to a lot of weak pop-ups and grounders and weak strikes on the ball in general. Now the reason why they're weak and it's tough to get around on these balls is because it's very hard to produce speed with the hands in a low position because we are left without one of our biggest power sources in the swing, which is leverage from the height of our hands. And we have leverage by our hands being up high and going down towards the baseball. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a very simple 3-step progression drill that's going to help us tackle this problem and get out of the habit of dropping our hands as we go to the ball. Now, the basis behind this drill is to do the opposite of what we do when we drop our hands, and that's we're going to lift our hands. So in every progression of this drill, we're going to start out just like this. So the setup of this drill is we're going to get into our perfect tee setup first of all, and we're going to get into our hitting stance, and we're going to go ahead and take our hands and drop them real low by our midsection and our torso. So from a face-on view, our hands are going to be just outside of our torso, about just over our belt. So we're going to start them off really, really low so that we can over-exaggerate this move, and you'll see right here. So the first progression is going to be our hands down here, and we're going to do the load stride swing drill, but instead of loading straight back, we're going to load our hands up. This would be the opposite of dropping the hands before they go to the ball. So the first progressions, we're going to start here. We're going to lift up for our load, stride, and then swing. Okay, so I'll show you from down the line. Same thing, getting into our perfect tee setup. Start with our hands low. We're going to lift up, stride, and then swing. Okay, so that's going to be the first progression. Okay, now we're going to go into the second progression where it's going to be very similar, same setup, but we're going to go into a little bit more of a game speed motion where we load, stride, and swing more fluid, and we're not going to stop at each part. Okay, so the second part of this drill, we're going to get in the same setup. Okay, and we're going to load, stride, and swing, and the load is going to be, again, be lifting our hands up to about shoulder height and going to the ball. So this is how it's going to look. Hands are low, load, stride, and swing. Okay, now from down the line, again, we're going to have our hands nice and low. We're going to lift up, load, stride, and swing. Okay? Now one quick checkpoint we want to make sure that we're noticing in this drill is that we're not going to worry too much about contact. We always want to make sure we're having solid contact, but we're not going to worry about it too much in this drill. The point of these progressions is to get out of the habit of dropping our hands, and then we go from there and we go into some more contact stuff. So the final progression of this drill is we're going to get into our same setup, okay? And then before we go to load stride, we're simply going to lift up, then load our hands, stride, and swing. So we're going to have the same mentality and doing the opposite, where we start low, lift up, load stride, and swing, okay? Show you again from down the line. Going to get in our setup. Hands are nice and low. We're going to lift up, load stride,